thank you very much for joining us this morning in this press conference. I'm very happy to engage with the press now that I'm fully accredited, since I presented my credentials as European Union Ambassador to Nigeria and ECOWAS to His Excellency the President of Nigeria last Friday. And yesterday in Abuja, I could also meet the Honorable Minister Tuga, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the Minister of Defense as well, and also another very important partner for us, the INEC. And for us, press and media are also key partners. And so do not hesitate to reach out to us, verify information with us and with our communication team. Follow our social networks, especially also where we have corporate accounts, but I have also personal accounts on LinkedIn and on X. So if you do us a favor to follow us, we will try to give you good and interesting information also there. And I would like to introduce the colleagues which were with me this morning. Massimo De Luca is our head of cooperation of the EU delegation, and Ricard Noordeman is the head of the trade and economy section. So in fact, we are a multinational team at the EU delegation with people from different nationalities, a Frenchman, an Italian, a Swede, and many Nigerian colleagues as well, and also many ladies, even if we don't reflect it this morning, the three of us. So perhaps first a few words of personal presentation. I am 55-year-old, I'm married, I have 3 grown-up daughters living and studying in Europe, and I've been working as a diplomat for 30 years, first in the French diplomatic service, and since 2021, I am serving the European Union, first as a European Union ambassador to Mexico. And from Mexico, I came here to Nigeria. I have a previous African experience in Senegal some years ago. And I arrived here in Nigeria in September, taking over from Ambassador Samuela Isopi. I know she was a very active ambassador, so surely you knew her very well. And I am really extremely happy to be in Nigeria, in the #1 nation in Africa. This is a country I visited 10 years ago on a mission during 1 week in Abuja and here in Lagos. And I thought, wow, what a fascinating country. How great it would be to be posted here. And the dream finally came true, so I'm very happy for that. And I had already the opportunity to travel a little bit around the country. This is already my 4th time here in Lagos since September. And in particular, I've been very keen on discovering Nigeria's vibrant culture, and in particular here in Lagos. A few words to start with about what the European Union stands for, because sometimes people do not know exactly even in Europe, what the EU is. So the EU is a union of 27 member states who are sharing part of the sovereignty to be more efficient, more up to the challenges of today's world. And with a population of 450 million inhabitants, a territory which is more or less twice the size of Nigeria, and the GDP comparable with the US or China, this is the right level to act, and it is no coincidence if all member states growingly act in the framework of the European Union in a united way. And we had recently, last year, elections, like every 5 years, the European Parliament, and all leadership was renewed or re-elected. And so we have some new leaders for the next 5 years. We have political stability, let's say, at the head of EU institutions over the next 5 years with the President of the European Council, Mr. Antonio Costa, the former Portuguese Prime Minister, and the President of the European Commission, Mrs. Ursula von der Leyen, who has been re-elected for another 5-year mandate. On the global stage, the European Union is not only a major economic power, but it's also a champion of peace, stability. We've been awarded with the Nobel Prize, the Peace Nobel Prize in 2012, and also a champion of sustainable development. We are, with a member say, the main provider of official development assistance in the world. And we have a global diplomatic network through 145 European Union delegations, the one I have the honor to head here in Nigeria. We are, of course, working very closely with the member states. Out of the 27, 19 have embassies here in Nigeria. Together we form what we call Team Europe, and we are coordinated from Brussels by a central diplomatic service called the European External Action Service, the EAS. So now, what is my mission in Nigeria? I would sum it up very briefly saying that it is to bring the EU-Nigeria partnership to a higher level with one goal, which is to positively impact the Nigerian population. As I told His Excellency the President last Friday, when I presented my credentials, in uncertain times like the ones we are living in, a fast evolving world like today's world, you need constant and faithful partners. And this is what the EU is and wants to be for Nigeria. And conversely, we see Nigeria as a key partner and a major player in Africa and in the world. And our new leadership is very much interested to re-engage with Nigeria to strengthen our partnership. We hope to have high-level visits and meetings soon to announce, to impulse at the highest level this relationship. And so my mission, or rather our mission, because it is a teamwork, of course, is to inform, propose, and implement the decisions made by our leaders to strengthen our partnership. And in fact, I see my mission with two aspects. The first one is to give more visibility to what we are already achieving in Nigeria and with Nigeria. And the second aspect is to impulse new initiatives and projects to exploit the untapped potential in our partnership. We already have a very strong and global partnership based on shared values, human rights, democracy, rule of law, multilateralism, respect for international law, and based on common interests. And we are very much transparent on what our interest is in Nigeria and in West Africa. It is to see Nigeria and to see the region consolidate its role as an anchor of stability in Africa and its progress on its path towards a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable future, resting on a robust democracy and allowing all citizens to enjoy their fundamental rights. A prosperous Nigeria, a prosperous West Africa is in the fundamental interest of the European Union. And we want to help Nigeria in this endeavor with a full respect, of course, for the country's sovereignty, and also with a doses of humility, because in such a large country, we cannot pretend that our cooperation is the main driver of change. The main driver of change are the policies developed by the government and the dynamism of the Nigerian. But we suffer from a lack of visibility, I think, of our action in Nigeria, as in other countries. And we also have to combat disinformation, sometimes fostered by foreign interests, or to combat simply sometimes misperceptions. People that, in good faith, have believe fake news or have ill-informed analysis about what we are doing here in the country. And here, the press, the media have a very important role to play as clearinghouse between what is real news and what is fake news. The European Union is Nigeria's first trade and investment partner. We will circulate to you some figures and also my speaking points of this conference to facilitate also your reports. But almost 1/3 of Nigeria's external trade is with the European Union, with a surplus, a growing surplus for Nigeria. And also almost 1/3 of the foreign direct investment comes from the European Union, the stock of investment. And we have many EU companies installed here, and they are organized now in the European Chamber of Commerce, Eurocham, grouping some 65 companies, and they are holding tomorrow here in the Radisson their annual stakeholders conference tomorrow morning. So I invite you very much to follow this important conference tomorrow. And Team Europe, the EU and its member states and its development banks is also the first bilateral partner in development cooperation and humanitarian assistance. And we have already launched a communication campaign on our Global Gateway strategy. We'll explain what it is and its achievements to give more visibility to this endeavor. But now we want to impulse new initiatives and projects to bring our partnership to a higher level, because we are convinced that there is an untapped potential in this partnership and we want to exploit it. And I will just take a few examples. First, we need to better structure our economic relation and our dialogue with Nigerian authorities to address and remove the issues that hamper more investment and trade between the EU and Nigeria. Currently, we don't have any agreement or dialogue framework on trade and investment, and so this is something that we want to address to structure better our dialogue. And through the Global Gateway Investment Agenda, we want to focus more our cooperation on creating jobs, creating opportunities, especially for young people in Nigeria, building on the great sense of entrepreneurship of people here in sectors like the economy, the green economy, digital, agri-food, or health. And this is actually already an ongoing work. And the Global Gateway is about working more closely in a more articulated way with the private sector to leverage investment and accelerate the green, digital and inclusive transition in Nigeria, like in the rest of the world, and connect people. This is what the Global Gateway is about, and we do this also in Team Europe spirit with our member states. We could also sign a science, technology and innovation agreement to foster projects and opportunities in higher education and research. We want very much to further strengthen our engagement in peace and security, responding better to Nigeria's needs and expectations. We also want to have a complete migration partnership, responding to both parties' interests and covering all aspects together with our member states, the fight against smuggling or trafficking of human beings, working with diasporas, building legal pathways of migration towards Europe, and finalizing the negotiation of a readmission agreement to ensure the return and the reintegration in decent conditions of migrants that cannot stay legally in the EU or have been stranded on their way. And we think that this agreement would pave the way for more global partnership. And finally, we want also to consult more closely with Nigeria and on global and regional issues. There are, in today's world, unfortunately, many problems we are facing, and in particular here in West Africa, where the EU is already the main supporter of ECOWAS, and we need to consult more closely to support Nigeria's efforts and ECOWAS efforts in the regional integration. Well, as a whole, what we want to do is have a closer relationship, not only with authorities, but also at federal or state level, but also with civil society, with the media, and with the youth. This is a very young country, and we launched a few weeks ago the second generation of our youth sounding board, which is a little bit a panel of young people, young Nigerians of all across the country, giving us a flavor, an idea of what young people see, expect, wish from the partnership between the EU and Nigeria. I will stop here. Thank you very much for your presence and your attention.